I'm Beth Ewen with Franchise Times, and I'm here today talking with Michael Arrowsmith. He's Chief Development Officer with Captain D's. Knows everything there is to know about real estate and site selection. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the trends that you're seeing in that very important field. So to tell me what is going on in site selection as you see it out on the ground.
I think, Beth, probably one of the most exciting things right now is just the whole explosion of data that's available for site selection in today's world. And it really follows a lot of what you see in other industries. I mean, data is just out there. The amount of data that we can get on sites today versus even just 2 or 3 years ago is really dramatic in terms of demographic information, cytographic information, and GPS controlled data, and geofencing, and all these other terms that sound sophisticated, but essentially it's just giving you traffic trends and showing you data and science on sites. And so that's really a great, exciting trend that really most brands should be utilizing. Having said that, that's just one piece of the puzzle. And I think where sometimes brands get into trouble is they overuse that. There's nothing beats actually going out and looking at a site and looking at all the science can just get you to the trade area, but you have to go look at the site, look at the traffic trends, look at what the site visibility is, the ingress and egress of a particular site. So I think it's important for a franchisee to be sure that they're with the franchise brand who, like at Captain D's, we actually send people out to physically look at the site. We personally believe at least 2 sets of eyes should see a site from our brand aside from the franchisee. So you have a good combination of we should know the brand, we should know who our customer is as the brand, and yet the franchisee in a particular market should really understand the market a little and the trends and where the growth is, and combined together, that's how you really come up with a successful site.
That's interesting. It sounds like the old way of the hunch or the gut feeling is really being married with technology and data, but yet you're saying you got to have them both.
You need to have both, and so it's a great time to actually do site selection because of all the tools that are out there and all the data that's out there and available. But you still want to have some experienced eyes looking at that and understanding the trends and the traffic and looking at the ingress egress and the characteristics of successful sites.
When you're looking for sites for Captain D's franchisees or helping them, and I know this is a big question, but what is the availability of real estate out there? Is it plentiful? Is it scarce? Does it just depend on where you are? And I know you have a fairly large footprint, so is that a factor as well?
Yeah, I think a lot of it does depend on the market, but in general I would say one of the trends that we're seeing today versus a few years ago is because a lot of brands have been doing well and a lot of brands are growing right now, that it sometimes is difficult to find a quality site because any site that you're looking at, normally other brands are looking at as well. We do both. At Captain D's we develop corporately as well as franchise. So one of the things is that when I'm talking to a franchisee, what they're experiencing in a marketplace is what I'm experiencing in a marketplace because we're trying to do the same thing. And one of the challenges that you've got to be aware of and careful as a franchisee is to be sure that you're going after a quality site. And there is a tendency among some franchisees to look for a less expensive site, which I think really kind of ties you down. If you have a low quality site, you're kind of handicapping yourself, and you're never going to have a sales potential that you can have in a higher volume site. And one way to look at it, I mean, this is a great comment that one of our franchisees made to me about a month ago, a great franchisee we have in the Captain D system in Arkansas. And we were talking about site selection, and he said, you don't have to tell me about great site selection. He said, what a lot of people don't understand is if I'm going to be in this site for 20 years, if I pay $50,000 more for a fantastic site, why do I want to save, if that $50,000 over 20 years will pay for itself at least 10 times over, because if you're looking at it as a 20-year investment, it's always better to go after the better real estate sites.
So you say you got to have those A sites. I've heard
Yes.
that a lot in this
Yes,
conference
but you
as
also
well.
have to understand the economics of your brand.
Yeah.
So there's limits that we have with our brand in terms of what we can afford to pay, and you need to understand that. And it's a fine line sometimes that you walk.
Interesting. I'm Beth Ewen with Franchise Times, and we've been talking all things real estate with Michael Arrowsmith, Captain D's.